It has been a magnificent season for these Indiana Pacers. They do not want it to end on their home floor in front of these great fans tonight. Turner goes high for the rebound. Halliburton's going to try. Finally gets one to go. Tyrese Halliburton from downtown. Here comes Halliburton. Siakam, Neesmith, corner three. Bang! Siakam falling away. Puts it in at the buzzer. It was the final time they'll see their team in person. And what a performance in the final home game of the season here in Game 6 of the Finals. They'll play for an NBA title on Sunday night in Game 7.
There have been 2,624 games played this NBA season. And now just one remaining. Oklahoma City, the epicenter of the sports world. Game 7, Sunday night. Coming up, we'll get you set for tomorrow's winner-take-all, where SGA and the Thunder will look to remain perfect this postseason following losses. Live from our Atlanta studio, this is NBA TV's coverage of NBA Finals media availability, presented by YouTube TV. With 3D Dennis Scott, I'm Jared Greenberg. We'll take you back out to Paycom Center as both the Thunder and Pacers take the floor for their final practice before Game 7. We'll hear from the head coaches and players, but 3D, first time in 9 years we get a Game 7. Everything we've wanted. This series has been phenomenal, and here we go Sunday night.
You know, it's amazing, Jared. I don't know which graphic or which stat to go after. Is it the stars with SGA and Halliburton? Is it the fact that both benches go deep? Carlisle's the champion. Dagnall's trying to figure it out. Each team has a guy that's won a championship, both small markets. But I think we both would agree it's been great basketball. And I think the casual fan is kind of throwing that narrative out the window about the market ability, if you will, knowing that both teams are playing high-level basketball. So to answer your question, which team now, it's the details, the turnovers. Because all the numbers are the numbers, but 5 out of 6 games now, the turnovers and the bench scoring has been the keys.
No question. Both teams want to play a clean game tomorrow night. Let's go out to Paycom Center for our first trip there and check in with Nabil Kareem, who will be on pre- and post-game coverage tomorrow night. Nabil, there's guaranteed to be a champion, which means there will be champagne celebration. What have you done to prepare your perfect hair for tomorrow's celebration, where it is guaranteed that you're getting soaked?
Yeah, Jared, that's all I can think about right now. The game is secondary. My hair is the main concern here, and I brought all the best products I could. I'm going to double up on the hairspray. There's no doubt about that.
Nice.
And then I brought the good stuff. Unlike you, Jared, I know you use that cheap stuff, the dippity-doo. I'm going with the most quality hair product. It's this little canister, and it costs about $25. But I'm going to bring 2 of those.
Wow.
I'm going to go heavy on the product, heavy on the hairspray, and I think it'll hold up.
May I recommend a shower cap for the hair? I think that'll work best. Let's get into this one here. OKC, obviously, getting a hard lesson after their first finals closeout situation. This is a young, inexperienced group. They're here for the very first time. What have you heard from the players that they can correct from Game 6 heading into tomorrow night's must-win?
Yeah, you guys talked about it right off the top. It's turnovers. That's the first thing. SGA had 8 turnovers in Game 6. They've actually had more turnovers in the last 4 games than assists. That is a problem, obviously. Not a good formula right there. And when SGA talked about it after Game 6, he didn't really have any answers for what was going on in that particular game. Obviously, you're going to hear from him today. And after watching the film, I'm sure he's going to have some better answers for you. But in that moment, he did not. Jalen Williams talked about playing against a set defense on Indiana. Because the Thunder weren't turning over the ball, they were playing against a set defense. That gave them trouble. And then he also said we just weren't trusting each other enough. So those are correctable mistakes. Now, one thing to also point out was the offensive rebounds. Indiana had 11 offensive rebounds in that game, led to 14 points, but also led to creating momentum and shifting the momentum in that game. I'm going to talk to Chet Holmgren in about, 20 minutes, roughly 20 minutes. I'm going to ask him about that because he's a big part of it. Just 6 total rebounds in 24 minutes in the last game.
Yeah, the game prior, the bigs were huge, no pun intended, for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, the big storyline coming into Game 5 was Tyrese Halliburton and that injured right calf. He was really good the other night, but it's his relationship with Rick Carlisle and the Bill and that trust factor that made that situation that could have been really, really risky go so smooth.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The communication between the two was so vital. Now, Tyrese said the entire time he was going to play, it was all about getting his body right. So he was getting treatment around the corner, right? Not just at the facility, but also at home. He talked to Rick Carlisle about that, and he said, listen, I'm going to play this game. But then they had an honest conversation about if I do play this game and I'm not effective, then maybe that's a situation where then you can take me out and put somebody else in. But let's cross that bridge when we come to it. And Rick Carlisle doubled down on this. He said there was absolutely no drama between him and Tyrese Halliburton as far as this decision was concerned, about the way Tyrese was acting and approaching this whole thing. He said he was going about his business in a very low-key manner, getting that extra treatment done. He said the media was the one who kind of made it a big deal. And a big bonus for them was that Tyrese Halliburton only had to play 23 minutes last game because the Pacers blew out the Thunder. So that is good news heading into Game 7.
Huge point, Nabil, no question. It was a double win for the Pacers. Now, Game 7, we're going to hear all the cliches today when you speak to Chet Holmgren and to all the players. But what are you hearing initially about how both teams, being in this spot, being in this spotlight as well, are approaching this massive game?
Yeah. Well, SGA mentioned it the other day, and I thought it was interesting that he admitted to it. He said they felt the weight of the closeout in Game 6. So that's a learning lesson for them. This is their first time in a closeout situation in the finals, right? So they learned from that situation. He also said they can take something from the Denver series going into that Game 7 and what they were able to do, the physicality of that series in that final game. So despite the outcome not being the same, obviously, from a second round to a finals, he said there are a lot of similarities there. Now, Tyrese Halliburton said they're trying not to think about the big picture, right? The fact that Indiana's never won an NBA championship. He kind of believes that the narratives right now, they're kind of poisonous. So he's staying away from that. He's staying away from social media. And then when you look at it and you look at playoff experience, finals experience is obviously not a lot for both teams. But when you look at a one-game situation, a lot of these guys have been through it in the college game, NCAA tournament. And then you also look at the Olympics for a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, who didn't play for Team USA, but was part of that experience, that gold medal experience in Paris. And then there was SGA, who was a vital piece for Canada. I don't want to get into what happened to Canada at the Olympics, so that still hurts. But he was there, and so he got that experience. And he also mentioned that that's going to help him in Game 7.
Contractually obligated to mention the great Canada.
Yes.
In every single one of these reports. Somebody's going to win a championship for the first time in their franchise's history tomorrow night. Nabil Kareem will be there in the locker room postgame for us live here on NBA TV. And his coverage will begin at 6 o'clock Eastern tomorrow prior to Game 7. Thanks so much to Nabil. Great stuff there. I want to turn our attention to one key storyline that we've been tracking all series long with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're not a team that necessarily passes the ball a ton relative to the best teams in the league during the regular season, but there's been a massive trend during this postseason where they average, not necessarily just assists, but total passes that they make, basically 271 passes per game during the regular season. That number dipped, understandably, in the playoffs over the first 3 rounds to about 257 passes per game. But they are down to 218 passes per game, which has resulted in them only getting 17 assists per game in this series. 3D. Indiana, a team who does pass the ball a lot, has made 705 more passes in the first 6 games of this series than Oklahoma City. What, if anything, do you read into these stats?
In our meeting, we're going back and forth, and I love this conversation. I think these numbers...
You were at a meeting?
Well, I caught the end of the meeting.
Gotcha.
And we talked about which team can make you feel more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
From day 1, series 1, game 1, Indiana, whenever OKC scores, they don't make any excuse. They get the ball out the net and they keep going. So they're still playing their style of game, still moving the ball. So now when OKC makes a mistake, the Pacers are getting wide open shots. Bill talked about it. We talked about it. It's the first time we've seen SGA force it. There was 5 of those 8 turnovers, just really bad turnovers. He was just trying to be the MVP, trying to be the man. We understand that. But all season long, we applauded you of getting off the basketball and letting J-Dub and the rest of your guys eat. And the Isaiah Joes of the world, the Wiggins of the world, getting wide open threes off you get off the ball. We don't see that now. But this play right here, I think everyone we up in our media section said, wait a minute. This ball didn't touch the floor. The basketball guys are going crazy. We're up there going crazy. Like, this is great basketball. And right here, J-Dub's a great player. What is Halliburton doing? Good instincts, just a bad turnover at a bad time, and now you're getting out and running. Another great play. Dort kind of lollygags a little bit, jumps up, and Jared, didn't that crazy? The crowd go crazy on that play right there?
Absolutely.
So you're asking yourself, how do you take better care of the basketball? Because now the stats show 5 of the 6 wins, it's been turnovers and bench points. Those are the 2 main details for me.
Back in July 2 years ago, the Knicks sent Obi Toppin to the Pacers for 2 second-round picks.
What? That's a bag of Cheeto Hots and some Kool-Aid.
A 2028 second-round pick and a 2029 pick.
Ooh-wee.
And now look what he's doing, leading all reserves in scoring here in the NBA Finals. Combine that with McConnell, obviously Caruso and Wiggins. Obviously, Lou Dort has played a role, although his shooting last couple games not as good. But, you know, so much 3D has been made of this series about the small markets, the lack of stars that people know about, but it feels like there's other lessons to be taken away from what we've seen the first 6 games.
Yeah, if you're a basketball coach, high school coach, AAU, whatever it is, you're learning now depth is important. And understanding you can bring in different guys into the game and they have stars in their role. If it's shot blocking, rebounding, penetrating, sharing the basketball, whatever it may be, that's what's so much fun about this series. T.J. McConnell comes off the bench and the crowd goes crazy in Indiana. Aaron Wiggins comes off the bench in OKC and Loud City, they go crazy. So which one of these guys, which pair of guys comes off the bench and kind of ignites this crowd for Game 7?
Yeah, and it has seemed like being at home makes a big difference for those role players.
It's amazing. I wish we could figure out what that really is. That we always say, hey, role players play better at home. It's sleeping in your own bed. It's your own chef, mom, dad, girlfriend, wife, whatever it may be. But it's true. It's a fact. When you're at home, you play better basketball. And you know this, Jared, being around T.J. McConnell, his best story, his grandfather and his father has been at these games and supporting him. So to give him that extra this is a story made for, for Disney, if you will, because he stated it. Hard work is a skill. Bringing that every night, being a pest, being a pit bull, picking up 94 feet, which is kind of what they do in college basketball. Well, he brought that back to the finals.
Yeah, and he gives them, Indiana that is, a playmaker that doesn't need others to create for him.
Yes, and that... Great point. So for all you young point guards out there, you don't have to always jump the highest or be the fastest. Are you working hard or being crafty? A little bit of that Steve Nash. When he keeps his dribble alive, drives under the basket and comes back the same way, lays the ball up, or catches Obi top and cutting to the basket, little drop-off pass for a dunk, that is letting you know he understands what he's doing with the basketball, keeping his dribble alive.
Isn't it funny that we always lean on these old cliches or the way things are supposed to be, right? Games are supposed to be low scoring. You're not supposed to take a lot of threes. You're not supposed to go deep into your bench. I mean, we're seeing these teams sometimes play 9 guys in the first quarter.
You've got the best one. Your superstar is not supposed to shoot all those twos. That's what SGA's doing right now.
Question.
So all these different cliches, you kind of throw them out the window. That's what's so much fun. We talked about Sam Presti. This is an opportunity to finally win with all the picks and all the MVPs he's had. Well, Coach Dagnall, let's call it what it is. We're poking holes at you because you've changed your lineup so much here in the finals. So both ends have made some mistakes. Both ends have corrected them with their adjustments, and now we have one game.
Well, that's an interesting point, right? Because Mark Dagnall went back to that double big lineup for the last several games, but then at halftime of Game 6, he went back to Caruso playing for Isaiah Hartenstein. What do you expect to see the bulk of the minutes, maybe even starting Game 7? Do you think he'll go back to that lineup he had in Games 1 and 2?
After watching this team the last 2 years, I think he will. I think he will go back to what you've been doing for the last 2 years, why you made the move to bring in these guys. You won 80-plus games going into the finals. Why would you change? Sometimes I think you overthink it. I think he's going to re-overthink it again, if you will, and go back to what got you here.
Well, we got some keys to dive into. Wonder if turnovers, wonder if the type of defense you play is going to be part of that for 3D. Rick Carlisle on the verge of history if he can get one more win. We'll come back and get you set for Game 7. No better saying in sports. Game 7, Sunday night. Get set for it with our crew live in Oklahoma City. Chris Miles will lead the coverage with the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas and NBA champions Channing Frye and Steve Smith. Nabil Kareem will talk with both head coaches before the game and then be in the champagne celebration after the game. Our coverage tips off Sunday night at 6 o'clock Eastern right here on NBA TV. And, of course, tune right back to NBA TV for the most extensive post-game coverage of the 2025 NBA champion. This day in NBA history, man, it was a classic. 7-game series. Lakers, Pistons.
Ooh, big game.
James Worthy coming up with 36, 16, and 10.
Gracious. Oh, man, just old school basketball, one-on-one. James Worthy and Magic. Oh, my goodness. I had flashbacks on that one.
Remember, Isaiah, the game prior, had scored 43, but had the bum ankle.
That's right.
But that was a different format, right? That was 3-2. That was 2-3-2.
There you go.
So the last 2 games were in L.A.
Right.
It's a little different now. Let's get to 3D's keys for Game 7 of this here NBA Finals.
Well, Jared, we've been talking about it all playoffs. It's the turnovers. You got to take care of the ball. Which team does that? Because that's what's happening in 6 wins. Extra possessions. How many times have you seen OKC Chet get a putback dunk or rebound kick out for a 3? But they don't make a lot of threes, but the rebound threes is the one they do key. And last but not least, we talked about in the previous segment, the bench points. Each team has had 2 or 3 guys step up in their wins. Which 2 or 3 guys is it for Game 7? I don't know which guys it is, but they will happen.
Yeah, it's been crazy, right? Just to see which guys coaches go to. Aaron Wiggins plays some games, doesn't. Kendrick Williams plays some games, he doesn't.
Yes.
Right? Like, which guy will it be?
Crazy.
And those points off of turnovers. In the 3 wins for OKC, they've scored 71 points off turnovers.
Right? So you got to take care of the ball.
Yeah. Who wins?
Oh, my goodness. OKC, I've been riding with you guys the last 2 years. Loud City is real. I'm going with SGA. I'm sticking with my MVP. He's going to play well and close it out.
And he'll be named Finals MVP?
Yep. He'll go on that list where MVP and champion the same. It's a small list, right? Yeah.
He will be the 11th all-time.
Bingo. There you go.
There have been 2,624 games. 1 remains. We'll see you Sunday for Game 7.